What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Happy Tuesday. You guys know what we do on here on Tuesday, the weekly tradition of taking a look at the young players on the team. So we've got a bunch of players who are on rookie deals or an equivalent, and the goal is to get a lot out of these players because these are the guys you get cheap. These are the guys who you get discounts on. You don't ever, well, rarely do you get a discount on a veteran player. Rarely does the second, third, or fourth contract on a player pay out more than you've put in. So these rookie deals and equivalents are very important. Without them, you're not going to have a very good team most of the time. So let's dive in, taking a look at how these young players are doing overall this season and how they did overall in the last game. Starting with Jalen Milroe, the quarterback, except not really, because once again, he did not play. So clearly, there's no interest on the part of this team of having him play a role, and I am fine with that. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today. Get to it and go have some fun with sports this year. Okay, so running back, we got some great news here. Ken Walker with the game of his life, maybe, at the very least, the best game he's played this season for sure. Maybe the best game of his career. I don't know. 160 plus yards, scored a touchdown. I had two monster plays that kept the team in it early. Well on pace again to have the best season of his career. I've talked about this before, but Ken Walker is on his way to the best season of his career by any reasonable standard, I believe. 90 PFF grade, one of the best in the league, so it doesn't get much better. Zach Charbonnet, not as good of a game, but he still did some good stuff out there. Still not enamored with his season, but he did better. He scored a touchdown. PFF grade is still very good, by the way, so there is some reason to believe that his struggles are not so much to do with him. And then you got Robbie Oots, still just kind of not really doing much. It is a learning process with him, but for this year, he doesn't really do that much for us. Receivers, JSN had another nice game, almost 100 yards and a touchdown game, tying touchdown, or I mean, I guess it ended up being kind of the game-winning touchdown, but who's counting? Over 100 catches now, almost 1,700 yards from scrimmage, 10 touchdowns, 93 PFF. It doesn't get much better than JSN. Continues to have a great season. He may not break the record at this point, but we got bigger fish to fry, guys. We got bigger fish to fry. That's what I'm going to say. It's too bad, but at the same time, I did always kind of have it in the back of my head that if he gets like within 20 yards of the record, whoever we're playing, like I guess it would probably be the Niners, they're just going to quadruple team him to make sure he doesn't get the record. Like they're not going to want that humiliation of giving up the record to JSN. So it's kind of like if a basketball player ever got to 90 points scored in a game, the other team would just put all five guys on him and say, hey, anybody else who wants to score, go ahead. But we're not going to let this guy get 100 on us. There's no way. We're not going to be the team that is known as the squad that gave up 100. So I'm not going to trip on it too much. I think Bobo played it. No, Bobo was inactive for this game. Excuse me. Did have AJ Barner played a good game. He had a barnyard sneak and he caught a long touchdown. He had some other catches as well. Even if he doesn't really do much over the next few games, you're talking about 50 catches, 500 yards. I'm good with that, especially in this passing attack where he doesn't get the ball thrown his way that much. Really nice second year here, 73.4. Arroyo didn't play, so nothing to say there. But yeah, Barner, whatever disappointment we may have in Arroyo right now, I think Barner more than makes up for it. He is, I think anyway, better than any reasonable expectation could have had for him based on what he did in college and what he did in the pre-draft period. So, very happy there. Offensive line, Charles Cross did not play. Ray Zabel played very poorly for the most part. There were some good moments, but I think he had a penalty. I believe he gave up 4 pressures. Yes, he did have a penalty. He allowed a sack. I believe maybe it was 2, depending on who you ask. Grades fell, so bad game for Zabel. And I'm going to say it again. I have optimism for him going forward, but I think people are getting a little ahead of themselves with Zabel right now. He's not a great player at this point in time. Jalen Sundell, we've got no new penalties at least, so that's good. I put these numbers together so long ago, I don't remember, but 4 pressures from a center. That is very, very bad. That is something that really should never happen under any circumstance. You're a center. You're constantly getting help. You're constantly getting the easiest task possible. So 4 pressures in a game is a big problem. PFF rating fell below 60. So now he truly is about replacement level. And we got to try to do better, man. I don't think he's a terrible player, but we got to try to do better. Anthony Bradford, I believe he picked up a penalty in this game, and I believe he allowed 3 pressures, so very bad. So the entire interior of the offensive line was a train wreck. PFF grades reflect this. Objective numbers reflect this. Just a dud. An absolute dud of a game. And obviously we can hope for them to play better than that, but this is not a great group of players. And honestly, I think it should be kind of expected that they continue to have games like this. And all we can do is hope that a guy like Zabel gets better and guys like Sundell and Bradford get replaced by better players in the near future. Okay, so moving along to the defense now. Byron Murphy, I thought he played a very mixed game. I thought the defensive line was getting kind of crushed in the run game early. And I don't think that Murphy was... Look, the thing with Murphy is he's kind of playing out of position right now, so I'm not going to kill him. I'm not going to be really mean to him, but I don't think he played a great game. He did have 5 tackles. PFF gave him like 6 pressures, but I'll tell you right now that Pro Football Reference will not. A lot of those pressures were very soft. 71.6, I mean, that's still good, especially because he plays a decent chunk of his snaps out of position, but it does highlight the fact that we're not getting the... I feel like Byron Murphy is an all-pro caliber player, but we're not getting all-pro value out of him because of all these snaps played out of position. Mike Morris, I think he played a tiny bit, didn't really do anything, not much to say, still kind of replacement level, and I like his versatility. I think he's better to have around than a normal replacement level player, but still not much to say. Drake Thomas put up big numbers in this game. He had, 13 tackles, but played pretty badly. No tackles for loss, no passes defense, got lit up in coverage, didn't do anything as a pass rusher. It was just kind of a dud. It was a bad game for Drake Thomas, I think, even though he racked up tackles. PFF grade, I believe, fell almost 3 points. So not going to get down on him, but there are things with Drake Thomas that are pretty easily exploitable, and we got to be real about those things because this is a very good linebacker draft coming up here. There are some really good guys that you could get, guys like Sonny Styles, guys like CJ Allen, maybe the Anthony Hill from Texas. You got to decide if you really want to commit to Drake Thomas. Edge rushers, not much to say here. Yeah, Boye Mafe, maybe the worst player on the field, basically got benched. No tackles in a game where we played 92 snaps. PFF grade fell off a cliff. Just a big disappointment for a guy that I was actually pretty high on. Derek Hall, I know he did a little bit better. He had 3 tackles, did get a little bit of pressure, I think, but PFF grade fell dramatically as well. So another kind of dud game. And I mean, none of the edge rushers in that game did great, but Nwosu and Lawrence are just miles ahead of these two. And it's something we can live with, but it does highlight we need to see what we can do about getting a true superstar edge. There are going to be games where we're trying to get by with just 4 good edges, is not going to cut it. You need that one guy who can just go out there and make a play over and over and over again, like a Max Crosby, like a Myles Garrett, like a Micah Parsons. And these guys are clearly not going to get to that point. Cornerback, Reek Woolen, one of the few guys who I thought played clean in coverage, had 1 tackle in this game. I don't believe that he didn't, but he didn't really get beat up too much in coverage, I don't think. I think that Reek Woolen was part of the solution. Of course, he got hurt, so he didn't play the whole game, but I think we're headed in the right direction there at least. Almost up to 60 with his PFF grade, which sounds like a backhanded compliment, but think about where he was when the season started. Witherspoon gave up 1 big play in this game, and that ended up making things look pretty not great. Did have 9 tackles, which, I mean, it sounds good on the face of it maybe, but it's not really what you want. You would typically want fewer tackles because they represent the fact that completions are not getting hit around him. But I think he played fine. PFF grade up to 90.6. On a snap-by-snap basis, might be the best corner in football. The injury has been a problem, but he is out there doing everything he can. And then you've got Pritchett. His PFF grade actually went up a little bit in this game, 2.5 points in the little bit of time that he played. So I guess that's good, but I don't think there's anything too definitive to say about him. He was just out there for a handful of snaps. Kobe Bryant got hurt at the end of the start of the 4th, I think. When he did play, I mean, he gave up the 1 big play, which was frustrating, but it was also a play where the Rams really got him into a bad situation, and there wasn't a ton that he could do about it. So what are we talking about here? Yeah, 5 tackles, and I don't think he played a terrible game. I just think that there was 1 really big, obvious, ugly play. I don't even know if I'm really smacking him around for that, but his PFF grade fell hard. Have to be honest about that. That is a pretty stark drop-off for a guy who's played this many snaps. 65.5, that is a drop of more than 4 points. And Nick Emanwari gave up some stuff in coverage. Little bit of a bumpy game for him. I still like what I see overall. 11 tackles, although that's not necessarily a good thing. There are going to be issues in coverage with him. It's not going to go away, especially not this year when he's a rookie. So I live with it. I think we should all be okay to live with it. PFF grade still right around a 70, which for a rookie, I'll live with that. And that is it for Youth Watch Tuesday. So not the best week, but there were highlights. Walker was great. JSN was great, at least in the second half. I know that first half there were some people wondering if this guy's maybe kind of sort of taking plays off early in the game. I know that there were some people throwing the allegation out. I'm not one of them, but I know people are saying it. AJ Barner was great. And there's still a lot to like here, even after a game like that. Okay, I'm going to go and get out of here. More videos coming soon. Go Hawks. Everyone have a great rest of your day. And yeah, that is your Youth Watch Tuesday. Keep an eye out for the more videos.